Mark Gurman has given a roundup in his newsletter, Power On, of the products in development in Apple's Vision Group, which is now being overseen by John Turnus. Mark is aware of 4 products that this group is working on. This group is now getting some additional focus and attention inside due to what Matt has been up to, which makes sense.
Good.
And also he mentions that like a lot of people moved to this group from the car team and stuff like that. Like they've moved a lot of engineers around. So the 4 products that are on deck include a cheaper Vision headset with cheaper materials to lower the price, slower processor, and no eyesight feature, so it removes that OLED display on the front. This is set to launch as soon as next year, but they're aiming for a $2,000 price tag, which is like, in our notes, I just wrote LOL sorry, because it's like people are thinking and hoping that this cheaper Vision headset mean that it's going to be within a range that you'd be willing to buy it, but I don't see that.
It's if we consider the current Vision Pro kind of a developer kit and a view of the future, but it's just not here yet, which I think is the only way to view it. That's the only way to view it. It costs too much and it does too little. Even though what it does is amazing, it costs too much and it does too little. I would never recommend it for anybody at this point. So getting it down to $2,000. First off, I remember when those rumors of it costing, the original one costing $2,000, me saying it's too much, and now here we are where the cheaper one will cost $2,000. It just, on one level, yes, there's a line in Gurman's piece that I really liked, which is, with the lower price, Apple is expecting unit sales of the device to be at least double the level of the Vision Pro. But that's not saying much, and I think that's exactly nailed it, which is, one of the things that this will do, if we are lamenting the state of affairs in the Vision Pro where there aren't that many developers and there aren't that many users, and it's like, and we know that it's early days, but it's such a high bar, taking it down to $2,000 lowers the bar. It's still a very high bar, but it's a lot lower. And I think if you're viewing this as a long game, having a cheaper way into this product line in order to get some more users and also to get some more developers with their hands on it, great. Like, I don't think Apple's plan for Vision products needs there to be a $500 Vision product. I don't. Because I think that they're trying to maintain a level of quality that also keeps your eye on like the future where this product category is going. I think
at least not yet.
Not yet. Right. Well, that's true. That's true. In the long run, sure. In the long run. But we're not anywhere close to that. And so people who want to judge these things based on like that they're regular Apple products, like they're really not. Like they're not even close. The value proposition is not there. So I look at this and think, great. Like, it would be better if it was $1,500. Obviously, it'd be better if it was $1,000. But $2,000 is better than $3,500, especially if they have some more compelling content, so they pick up some more users, and developers who are more skeptical can actually get in and have it be a little bit better. I also think that the HomePod thing is happening here. One of those bullet points you read out is cheaper materials, and it's like, they made a really nice luxury headset with the Vision Pro, but a lot of that stuff is not necessary. It's nice, but it's not necessary, and getting the price down is going to be helpful. Even though it doesn't solve the problem, it's a better place to be with a $2,000 headset than a $3,500 headset. Not great, but better.
I'm sure we said this already, but the idea just popped into my head, so I want to reiterate it again. Like, with the Orion, the Meta Orion, there was so much talk from Meta and then just like spoken about by everyone, where they were like, "Oh, this costs so much money."
Cost $10,000 to make it.
Right.
Not we would sell it for $10,000. Cost $10,000 to make one.
It cost so much money that they were like, "We're just not going to do this. Like, we'll wait." I think with the Vision Pro, Apple this costs so much money, but we're going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. This is because ostensibly that's the Orion is their vision of the future.
Yes.
I think the Vision Pro has some of those elements to it, but Apple just decided to get it to the point where they could just ship it and
ship it.
They
ship
did
the
it.
OS.
No, and everybody knows that's too much money. Everybody knows that. They know that.
That's the problem I have with reporting this. Like, oh, this is a real flop. And it's like, if there's anybody at Apple who thought that the $3,500 headset that doesn't do a whole lot was going to be an enormous hit, those people should be relieved of their duties because it's a delusion. It's very clear that this is playing by completely different rules from other Apple products, and that's fine. Also, I'll point out again, Mark Gurman did a report last January of 23, that said Apple also had an AR glasses project like Project Orion, and they were like, there's no way we can ship this. It will be too expensive and it'll take too long, and let's do Vision Pro instead, not thinking, oh, Vision Pro is the solution and people are going to be wearing these down the street, but thinking this gets us a product in the market that people can start playing with. Maybe we'll figure out killer apps for it. We'll experiment with content with the idea that in 5 years, maybe this is more of a thing. And that is, we have an Ask Upgrade question that maybe we'll get to this week that's more about this. But it's that idea of like, well, which is the better approach, to not ship something but show it to the public and say it's coming, or do what Apple did, which is ship something but not talk about the other thing that is where they eventually want to go, because Apple never talks about future products. And anyway, it is a $2,000 Vision non-Pro would be welcome, I think would be good for what Apple is doing, but is not the solution to the problem of why are millions of people not buying Vision Pros. I think nor is it intended to be, but it's certainly like Gurman wrote, more than double the people who bought the Vision Pro would buy a cheaper Vision. I think that's true, especially if they can come up with something that's a killer app for it, whether it's entertainment or sports or whatever.
Like, I also think as well, right, I think something that people get really stuck up on and did is that Apple, when they released the product, they kind of make as much noise as they would any of their other products, right? Like, it got the whole big launch, because they actually cannot do it another way. Like, they can't. Apple cannot release a new product and not do the whole song and dance. Like, they have to do that. They put in probably more budget into like the launch marketing for that than they would have any of their Macs, any of their iPads, and maybe the iPhone. Like, they really went heavy on it because that's just what they have to do, no matter what the end result will be, because it's who they are. It's the type of company that they are.
Because Apple doesn't do anything.
Can't do it half-hearted.
They're too big at this point. And there's too much attention on them for to do anything quietly. They can't.
Where in hardware, Meta can do this, right? It's easier for them to do this because they're not the same company. Anyway, moving back to this Mark Gurman report. Also speaks of a second-generation Vision Pro that would have a faster processor to be released in 2026 at the earliest. Okay. There is a version of smart glasses in the form of like Meta Ray-Bans in their kind of like function on deck for 2027, which in my opinion is too far.
I agree, and I'm a little. I mean, maybe this is just because this is the Apple process, but like, it feels like this is existing tech that they've got in a lot of ways in terms of cameras and connections to iPhones and AirPods and all of those things, and that creating AirPods that are glasses essentially is what we're saying here, right? They're AirPods that are glasses. They've got cameras and they've got speakers or bone conduction or whatever. And you could use a lot of the same techniques that you use for AirPods and connect to your phone and connect to your personal assistant and all of that. It does seem like having to wait 3 years is a bit much for this. And
because I mean, I don't know what they're working on, but like for a product of this class, I'm not sure that they really will produce something that is so mind-blowing, right? That it's so significantly better than the company that at this point, with Meta would have been doing this for years, right? Like, what is Meta? What is the Meta Ray-Ban product in 2027? You know what I mean? Like, what have they gotten it to?
If I were a person at Apple who believed in this product category, which there must be because they're thinking of doing them, I would say, how can we get a product shipped by the end of next year?
Yes.
And I know that's really fast, but I would say, what is that product and how can we do it? Because I think they could do it, but they've got to actually they got to do it. They got to try.
And I think that it would 2026 for a pair of glasses that have decent speakers in them, which they know how to do even that kind of thing from the ear pods, whatever they're called, the audio pods on the Vision Pro, right? Like that kind of thing of like angling it to you with decent cameras in them and connected to your iPhone like an Apple Watch is. Like, Apple, I know how hard this is. I 100% believe that you have the ability to do that within the next 18 months.
Yeah, I think they've got the technology to do it, and I think the danger, and this is a constant danger with modern Apple. And like I said, I think the HomePod showed this, and I think that the Vision Pro shows this, which is they need to, especially with new products, they need to be a little more considerate of what the minimum viable product is, and not what the perfect product is. Because when I see we're going to do smart glasses in 2027, I think you've over-engineered what you think these smart glasses should be. And I am thinking, here's what they should be. They should connect to your phone. They should have a camera. They should have audio output. They kind of like AirPods. Whatever you're working on with we're about to talk about it, all those rumors of cameras on AirPods, it's the same idea. Whatever you're working on with visual intelligence on the iPhone, it's the same idea. You make a connection to your phone. It's a peripheral. It's a wearable. You've got all the pieces here. Don't overthink this, right? Just ship something and then iterate, because iterating is what you do best. So ship something. Don't overthink it. Don't make it over-spec'd and overpriced. Get something out the door that's, I'm not saying bad, I'm saying something out the door that's good, but is not
you have
the
a
perfect
partnership with an optic company now, right? Like you have the pieces in place to do this, right? You can work with the opticians that you're working with to create the Vision Pro lenses, to help you create lenses for this product, right? Like the pieces are there. You've got to bring it together, because Meta are taking this market. Like, this is theirs now, right? Like, they own it, and it's cool. It is a cool product. That is a problem, right? Like, it's not just like this is a nerdy thing. They have legitimately created a product that people think is cool. And if they continue pushing down that road, that becomes harder and harder to work against. Like, right. And so this is an area they should go in. You mentioned AirPods with cameras. That's another thing for 2027. And for both of these products, as well as the visual intelligence feature that's coming at some point to the iPhone, where you can point your iPhone and say, like, what's this? Mark says, quote, "The idea is to salvage the billions of dollars spent on the Vision Pro's visual intelligence technology, which can scan the environment around a user and supply useful data." I don't really know what that means, but
I don't know.
Fine.
I don't know. Because it doesn't seem very intelligent now, but perhaps that's a thing that's being worked on.
Or it's just not exposed, right? That, like, the Vision Pro is aware of so much stuff that's around us, and it's identifying things, but it's not like, we don't need to know that, but, like, the hardware knows.
What this sounds like, though, is that Apple is doing the Apple thing, where they're like, we are thinking of, what if there are cameras on AirPods? What if there are glasses? What if you have a camera that you can point at things and then you've got a device? I think one of the challenges, too, is it's got to be a device that works with your iPhone, which is fine, because that's like Apple's primary thing. I don't think it even needs to be as intelligent as an Apple Watch. I think it could really be a connection to an iPhone, and it's sending, it sends the images back to the iPhone when you ask, or when you are taking a picture or whatever. It basically is an iPhone peripheral. But they've got the pieces. I think that the AirPods with cameras project is interesting. Like, it is going down a lot of the same paths that this is. I'm not entirely convinced. Like, Meta is ahead, but it is still a pretty niche-y product.
Sure.
But I think the challenge is, this is the point where I think, have enough signal of how that product is being received to say, this is a thing and we should be there if you're Apple, right? And it sounds like they do think that they should be there, but I wonder about the urgency of it. Like, I think this is a product that, first off, Apple should have probably embraced this idea sooner, because it's actually a very good idea. I'm skeptical of how good AirPods with cameras on them are actually going to be at capturing the world.
I don't really know what that's for
glasses
yet.
make sense.
I'm not sure I know what that, like, specifically is for. But, like, this is the thing. Like, how well is the Meta Ray-Bans doing? I don't know. They're not even saying. But it is a product that is gaining momentum. And I think another 3 years from now, like, where are we at that point? And is that then a much harder challenge to fight against? We'll see. And who knows what the Department of Justice will have to say by 2027, right?
No kidding.
If if something happens there and Apple is forced to open up to peripherals, which is like a specific thing in the Department of Justice case, then where are the Meta Ray-Bans? Like, if they have the ability to be able to talk more directly via a set of APIs like an Apple Watch can, then that makes Apple's job significantly harder, right? Because then you haven't even got... this is a lot of pie in the sky thinking here, but like, if they're not able to as easily be like, get the Apple ones because it connects to all your stuff. Like, if that becomes a harder sell, this is an even more complicated project for them, I think.
Sure.